The Empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Another major health threat, this one in Toledo, Ohio, where everybody in the entire city has been told not to drink the water.
Ohio's governor declaring a state of emergency.
Did you know that the average person uses about 80 to 100 gallons of water at home every single day? If there's a water emergency, will you be prepared?
Panicked residents forming long lines throughout the day.
We're here at a supermarket in Toledo. You can see the shelves empty where water once was.
To stay safe and healthy during a crisis, you must have access to safe, clean water. Water which will not be available at your local grocery store.
There's a mad dash on right now to stock up on supplies.
The ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system is a must-have for every modern, independently minded household. Protect your family's safety during an emergency. Go to InfoWarsStore.com today to purchase your ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system or call 1-888-253-3139.
When cells become toxic, they die early and aging sets in. No one has put together a formula that focuses directly on brain health, nerve growth factors, and optimizing your cellular energy at the same time. Just one of the key compounds, BioPQQ, is backed by major clinical studies. You want the best that's out there at the lowest price anywhere? We now have the synergistic solution. Secure your DNA Force today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139.
The average person's life is filled with unexpected challenges. Unlock the energy it takes to defeat these daily beasts with super male or super female vitality, specifically designed to assist the body in regulating proper hormone balance to create superior vitality in males and females. Supercharge and conquer your world at InfoWarsLife.com or call 1-888-253-3139.
Used since before the days of the Roman Empire to support the body's natural systems and enhance overall health. Introducing the new InfoWarsLife.com oil of oregano formulation, a highly advanced nutraceutical form of this key herb that has been traditionally used by civilizations for thousands of years to promote health. We have now procured the most high quality and potent forms of oregano oil on the market, sourced from top leading manufacturers to ensure a concentrated level of bioactive ingredients. Extracted directly from the wild herb and sealed in easy-to-use capsules, you will no longer need to endure the burning of liquid oregano on the tongue. Wild crafted from the Mediterranean oregano species that experts agree is one of the most powerful and most challenging to acquire. This winter season, it's more important than ever to secure this true form of oil of oregano. Now available in our limited first run at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139.
He aligns himself with the truth, and it's time for you to choose a side. You're listening to Alex Jones.
I see your hair is burning.
We're going to be talking to our guest, former editor of the Wall Street Journal, father of Reaganomics, best-selling author, Dr. Paul Craig Roberts, former deputy head of the Department of Treasury, Assistant Secretary. We're going to talk about the huge developments in Russia, China, what's happening to the world economy, Federal Reserve announcements, and more. One of the top 10 living economists, according to Forbes. Before we do that, please remember we're listener-supported. We don't get $450 million a year like NPR, Rockefeller money, and then a bunch of other taxpayer money and beg for money every hour like NPR to push propaganda. We don't get billions of stimulus money like MSNBC. We sell high-quality pro-Second Amendment T-shirts. We sell high-quality supplements. We sell high-quality water filtration systems to cut out the glyphosates and fluoride. We sell high-quality shortwave radios, really high-quality, non-GMO seed banks for everything from fruit trees down to tomatoes. I mean, just the very best seed banks. Now's the time to get those. We have the major 8 manufacturers, suppliers of heirloom seeds that Monsanto and others have been trying to buy up. We have the lowest prices. InfoWarsStore.com. Now, I advertise everything on the site at the lowest level you're allowed to sell stuff from distributors. They make you sign contracts. But I have in the contracts that twice a year I can offer discounts. And the contracts all pretty much agree 10 to 15%. And I push it a little bit, I'll be quite honest with you. But the point is, this is the lowest you'll get them. We sell some of this stuff lower than Amazon. But plus, you're shopping with the Patriots and funding our operation. Get the high-quality heirloom seeds. Plant them. It's fun, whether you live in the city or wherever. Go out in the park and plant them. A lot of folks are doing that on the right-of-ways, whatever. It's just fun to do. Get the high-quality supplements, all of it, 10% off with promo code SUPER for the Super Sale at checkout, 10% off your total. And that's on top of stuff like DNA Force and other amazing supplements that are already 30% off. InfoWarsLife.com, InfoWarsStore.com, or 888-253-3139. And I want to thank you all for your support. You fund the operation and for supporting our local AM and FM affiliates and their sponsors as well. Now, Dr. Paul Craig Roberts was the former Assistant Secretary of State, the former head editor of the Wall Street Journal, and, of course, a best-selling author on many of the top think tanks in Washington as well. So he's, a big former insider. And he has talked a lot about the fact that there is insanity by the ruling elite. He was involved in the collapse of the Soviet Union and negotiating that with them. He's warned that Russia may use nuclear weapons. Well, they came out, Putin last week, and said that we were preparing to use nuclear weapons if you continue to send in armor to attack us. Cracks in Washington's empire, Washington's EU vassals might be finding their backbone. Roberts reported on this on the 18th. A day later, it was in AP, Reuters, everywhere, basically the same headline, that a whole bunch of countries, Switzerland, Luxembourg, South Korea, Japan, Australia, and others, joined, and also Britain, Germany, France, and Italy, to get into the Chinese-led Asian Investment Bank. But some of the elite over here are investing as well. So this is a big deal. It's a challenge to the IMF and World Bank to dollar hegemon that the globalists have been using to abuse U.S. power and really destroying it long-term in the process and destroying our soft power, to quote Roberts. So, Roberts, I'm going to shut up. You've got the floor for the next 10 minutes or so, and I'll come back in with some other areas I want to get into. But it does look like some of the first cracks in the bravada, in the chutzpah. How big a deal are Putin's announcements about nukes, and how big a deal is the situation, and then how does that tie into Yellen saying we may raise rates a little? What's really going on?
Well, as you know, Alex, a great deal is going on. The Chinese, by bringing out this new Asian investment bank, are in the process of displacing Washington's Asian Development Bank. Washington uses development banks, whether the Asian one or the World Bank or other of its financial creatures, such as IMF, to impose its financial and political hegemony on other countries. China is much more clever and has created this new bank in order to actually help countries and build friendships and to build trust. And no one any longer trusts Washington. They know that it's a bully and that whatever it holds out to you is just a harness to put you in. So the surprising development was the rapidity with which American puppet states like Great Britain, I mean, Great Britain is a total American puppet state. They had never make a decision without asking Washington what they should decide. And yet Britain accepted this despite Washington's warning and opposition. So did France, Germany, and Italy. And then Australia and South Korea, which initially had turned down the Chinese invitation to join as a result of Washington's pressure on them, are now reconsidering.
What's precipitating this?
I think what's precipitating it is Washington is now so reckless. It's so full of arrogance and hubris, and really it's a megalomaniac. And the world is beginning to realize that they're under threat of destruction by the incessant lies coming out of Washington about war, particularly with regard to Russia and to China. These incessant lies about Russian invasions of Ukraine, about a pending Russian invasion of the Baltics and Poland. And they realize that Washington is so out of control in its own mind that its power is slipping. that it's going to drive the whole world into a war in order to try to prevent the rise of Russia and China. And so they're showing a move away from this control. They're trying to show that the empire's alliances are shaky and that Washington needs to pull in its horns and back off. I think that's really what's going on. In addition, the financial interest in those countries have to be disturbed by the massive creation of money and debt in the United States. You know, the money and debt in the last 6 or 7 years has grown many multiples times greater than the gross domestic product that has to support that money and debt. And so the whole notion of Washington as some sort of a financial safe house is diminishing. When you look at China, is really the only country in the world that has massive independent reserves. It's the soundest financial system there is. And so I think they're saying, hey, look, we better remember that we can go down with the Americans if we don't make some sort of hedge against our American bet.
And those hedges can expand quickly. Putin's now called for a Eurasian currency union as well. So this saber-rattling is forcing people out of very compliant stance they were in just 6 years ago into a obstinate stance.
You summed it up very well, Alex. It's exactly what's happening.
What's wrong with Washington? Because it's now national news. Drudge Report picked it up. Official Army document, it's public, says they list conservative areas, libertarian areas of California, Texas, and Utah as areas they think might have an uprising, and they're having a joint forces command training to take on domestic groups. And they list Texas as an enemy hostile. I mean, this is reaching Twilight Zone proportions. Who in the world would train the Pentagon and then publicly put out? I mean, we know the Pentagon had plans to invade Canada, but that doesn't mean they're going to do it. But they're actually training in huge military operations coming up this summer to basically invade Texas.
You mean in the event of instability?
Yes.
Economic collapse and some sort of, yeah. Well, we'll find out how tough Texans are. You know, Texas is a big place, kind of like Afghanistan. And if after 14 years, Washington couldn't defeat a few thousand lightly armed Taliban, it's not likely to defeat the Texans. But we'll see what happens. Clearly, as you say, Washington is insane. They're unstable. They're mentally unstable. They're not just psychopaths.
Well, clearly they're insane, drawing up war plans on Texas.
And Utah. So
yeah.
You have to, look, what does, for example, what does Utah Senator Orrin Hatch think about this?
There's never anything out of any of them.
War plans against his home state. What do the Texas senators think? What does George W. Bush think? There he is sitting in Texas. And Washington is drawing up plans to invade Texas. Will he be a victim too?
Well, remember 3 years ago when the legislature passed in the House unanimously that they would indict people for groping at the TSA, and then before it passed the Senate, it was in the AP, they said, we'll put F-16s in and embargo aircraft. The immediate response was the same thing that started the Civil War, a blockade. That shows the hubris. You used to be in Washington at the highest levels. How has it changed since you were at the highest levels?
It's a different country, Alex. It's a different country. It's nothing like what it was like when I was there. I mean, not that it was any kind of idealistic place. There was a lot of corruption and cowardice and scheming and illegality and immorality. But compared to what it is now, it was like heaven. There's no...
What was Ronald Reagan like, who you knew, I guess, pretty good from what I've read, and he credited you for Reaganomics. What was he like versus what we have now?
Well, he never would have done any of this stuff. He respected the Oval Office. He respected the Constitution. The kind of bad things he got roped into doing was part of forcing the Soviets to negotiate the end of the Cold War. For example, Grenada, Nicaragua. The neocons in the government, before he fired them, told him that you can't let there be a left-wing takeover in the